Good time zone, everyone. This is your naturally born hated Virgo speaking. You know, I can laugh at a lot of things in my life now, especially with the mistakes that I made with how I talk to certain people. Um, you know, and just all the lessons that I've learned about it. It's really interesting because life has a way of just working its way in ways that you just don't really fully understand. Like you try to piece it all together, and I think that's the problem. We try to piece things in ways that we truly don't understand. And once we stop trying to piece it all together, we see that life itself just works on its own. It works on its own in a way that I can't even explain. When we stop trying to be the ones that determine how life's going to go all the time, it just makes sense. We stop feeling sorry for ourselves. We stop being so concerned about, did we hurt this person? It's not selfishness, it's just allowing ourselves to breathe every now and then. Because I'll tell you this right now, being a good person is exhausting. It's exhausting and it's never rewarding. Anyone that tells you it's rewarding, they're kind of delusioned, because you are trying to help people who are lost, who are dumbfounded, who are ignorant, and let's just be real, who are stupid and don't fully understand what you, a wise individual, sees. Today's topic, or episode of Virgo Circle, is simply about women. Now, under the moniker YPY, I've talked about how women have abused and neglected me, and how, on a mental scale, to the point where I had to seek therapy. And I've already talked to you all about how virality, the LGBTQ media, the lesbian media, how that really helped me to heal from that. Because there's all these stereotypes and all this research that I had to do, and whoops, Sniper Girl 666, welcome to my realm. And beyond those lines, it just comes a point where you just have to let it all out. Allow yourself to heal. Allow yourself to breathe. Big the cat, welcome to my realm. And as you allow yourself to heal, you start to open your eyes just a little bit wider. There's a lot of guys that struggle to maintain relationships because they are trying to force something that doesn't truly work. The old saying was, the prettiest woman is the most dangerous woman. That's because that woman worked pretty hard to look the way they do, to find the right guy or gal that they want. And like I said before, that if a woman looks way too pretty for your own good, they're a lesbian. I'm just gonna tell you that right now, that they are indeed a lesbian. Tech Rack, welcome to my realm. Because no woman is gonna go do all that trouble for a man, but they'll do it for a woman because they want to be exactly how that person envisioned. But you have to play Cottonbud VT. Welcome to my realm. But you have to play their game, and their game is pretty complicated. Hello there. So how this game works is simple. There's different types of women. Okay, you got the ones that will play hard to get. You got the ones that claim that they're shy. You got the dangerous ones who are victims of their past due to their trauma. Jeremy, welcome to my realm. You got the ones who uh, gossip because they're surrounded by gossipers through their mother or father or through somebody that they pretty much fully trust. You got the ones who are, mysterious. And then, of course, you got the ones who claim to be golf and emotionless and whatnot. You got the tough women. Regardless, you just have Little Red. Welcome to my realm. Regardless, you just have women of all different types of, shapes, sizes, differences. Pointy. Welcome to my realm. But the one thing that you have to understand is that when it comes to their emotional standpoint, they are naturally nurturers. So what this means is, guys, or women, but guys, a woman can help you. They can heal you from all your pain. Oh, they'll listen to you and whatnot. But they can also destroy you at the same time if you're not careful. Because that's their nature. They can help you, they can lift you up, they can give you the best days of your life, and then afterwards, they can destroy you. Destroy you in a way where you start to question yourself, question your sanity, question why you do things. Huang Tong, welcome to my realm. Question if you're a good person, question if you even need to belong in this world. That's just the power and nature of a woman. Emotional manipulators by nature. Now, I know you're not going to like this, but it's the truth. They know how to get into a guy or woman's mind, and they know exactly how to play the game. And it all starts with their first interaction. If you could tell a good woman from a woman who is a little bit disgruntled about themselves. Ivan Conquet, welcome to my realm. Women who constantly need self validation, who constantly need love and praise, that is a sign of low self esteem. Venom Dog, welcome to my realm. Then you have the women who have to prove themselves, be strong, be courageous, be independent, girl power and all that stuff. Those are the women that some guys like and some guys fear. But we're not here to talk about and break down all these different types of women. You can look that up yourself. I'm simply here just to break down for the guys and women why you need to stop searching and start seeing. Here's how it works. And I even play this game too with women just to see if they're actually the one. First impression. How a woman sees you at first is how they will see you forever. Sorry. So if you appeared weak and nimble and someone that's too nice, you're a target. But if you come across as someone that's got something going for them, independent, minds their own business, doesn't search a lot, just focuses on their life, embrace life, they're coming after you. The first time a woman waves at you and says hi and says all these things about, oh, I think you're just this lovely guy, absolutely respect what they say. But do not say you're the only one that's ever said that. Saying you're the only one shows weakness, shows that you don't have any faith in the fact that you can find somebody else. And that woman's going to take full advantage of you. Now, not all of them, but by nature, it's in their nature. And a good person is always going to fight against their nature because nature is cruel. Nature is good, and nature can just be. It's one of those things that You got to understand, right? You got to understand this because if you don't get this right there and then, they got you. They got you right where you want them. And when that happens, that guy is going to be broken in such a way. And then you're going, whoa, this guy is all of a sudden, he's just nice guys. Now he's mean. He's yelling at people. He's this. And, you know, and I know some of you women are not liking what I'm saying. Well, I'm going to say it once. I'm going to say it again. I'm called the naturally born hated Virgo for a reason. This is nothing to disagree with. This is the truth. And let me break this down even more as to why women are like this. I'm going to say it again. They are naturally, emotional nurturers. Depending on how far they take this is based on what happens in their past. If they were a victim of their trauma of any way, extreme or whatnot, they are going to naturally be a manipulator, someone that's going to hurt someone. If they are someone who, is of the church, someone who, has been loved and cared for, they are going to naturally care and love. But what happens when that woman gets hurt? That good person gets hurt. They go back to their nature. Then they start to, go to the phases of, oh, I forgive. And then all of a sudden, the game changes and switches. It flips. That's just how they are. Because women calculate things through emotion, right? If you say, you know, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it, take your time, versus being straightforward, they will interpret that differently. So if you say, you know, you know, every time you do this, I feel such and such, your tone and how you say it will determine to that woman how urgent this is or how this is. Versus if you're being all sweet and nice and whatnot, they may just look at you and say, huh, look at this guy. Look at this woman. I ain't got to respect them. That's how they see it. I'm talking about from a nature perspective. I know a lot of y'all gonna be like, "Oh my god, I'm not like that. I would never do that." And listen, this is just human nature. This is just the way how things are. And if you don't like it, then don't play the game. You know, just simply don't play the game. Because I'm sorry, this is just the rules of nature. This is just the way how it works, and you can't get mad about it. It's just the truth. Type it in yourself on YouTube. It's out there. And to those who want to do a co-host, my apologies. Like I said, this is not going to be a very long stream, but I do appreciate the fact that y'all want to do that. But I'm trying to get a point across here because I'm dealing with somebody who, I'm not going to state their name. They are pretty much acting in a way that just a lot of men are going to look and say, dude, if you keep this up, you're going to get hurt. So guys, let me break this down for you, okay? Because I made the same mistake, okay? Listen. And to those who come in, welcome to my realm. It's a lot of you. So Vic, David, Raymond, Autistic and Trashy, Orphan Knees, Kneecash, Yammy, Christopher, Westford, Teen Jeremiah, Yammy, and Hunter the Derg. Welcome to my realm. Stay, like, share, however you feel. But if you missed this, I don't know what to tell you. You see, when a woman sees a guy or another woman or whatnot, they're scanning and observing you. And I'm pretty sure the guy or the woman does the same thing. And they look for two things. They look for the fact of how this benefits them and is this worth their time? So it's kind of like a business transaction in a way. It's like, Okay, you got a nice body, you got something going for you, you got a job, yada yada yada. You know, I got a job, I got a career, yada yada yada. Let's test this out. That's all dates really are, folks. They're just tests. They're just tests of love. You pass the test, you actually truly love that person. There you go. They're yours. They're all yours. And I know it's frustrating, right? Because I know there's some rare women out there that will say stuff like, "Oh, I don't judge, I don't judge, I don't judge." Remember all that one cartoon character, right? The guy that always says stuff like, "I don't know if you should be with her. I don't know, blah blah blah, man. I'm just trying to look out for you." Some mean well, and some are just jealous. Line, welcome back to my realm. Bang bang Neko, welcome to my realm. And the way how this works is simple. This, what you deal with women, is an endless game of like chess and checkers combined. And if you are not careful, you will lose. This is why women secret, as Beyonce says, they rule the world because they know how to get in a guy's head. And once they get in your head, it's game over. Now, you don't have to be a giga Chad. You don't have to work out 6 times, in a week. You don't have to have the big muscles. You just need to listen. That's all you need to do. Your most powerful tool. It's not just your mouth, it's you listening. It's you forming that intimate relationship with them. Women do this naturally because they want to guard themselves so they don't get hurt. Men are logical, women are emotional. Well, technically speaking, I'm different. I'm logical, and this one guy is okay. Well, you are different, but by nature, women are emotional. Fingers, men are logical. So that's why when a woman starts yelling at a guy, the guy is trying to figure out what the hell did I do. The woman is saying, figure it out because you should know. It's been like this since the dawn of time. And guys still haven't figured this out. The answer is simple. Number one, stop giving so much attention to her. Let her know she is not the only one. This hurts women so much because it honestly like destroys their ego. Because I can say women, they have that ego because they feel like they're the prettiest one. Oh, he would never do this. He would never. Because this is why, guys, you got to have options. You know, you got to let that woman know, not through your words, but through your actions. You're not the only one. I got other people that want me too. This is how you get their respect. Now, you probably think it to yourself, this sounds exhausting, sounds tiring. Then, like I said, don't play the game. Chronos, welcome to my realm. It's been a minute. That's just how it works. And if you don't like it, then simply stay to yourself, do you, and don't bother. This is life, and it's always been this way forever and ever and ever. It's easier to be their friend than it is to be their lover. Being their lover is work. You have to earn their trust. You need to know what they went through, especially if they have been raped, molested, if they dealt with trauma, if they have triggers. You got to know all of this. And the only way you'll know is if you take it slow. The only way you'll know is if you use the right buzzwords. And the only way you'll know is if you don't be like that one guy that just takes advice online and then tries to interpret it. No, 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 no. I will say this once and I'll say it again. When you are giving advice, you have to customize it. That's how you throw them off. That's how you throw people off. You have to customize it so it doesn't seem like that you are doing all this research. And Virgos, stop saying that you do a bunch of research when it comes to someone that you love. You have to also play the game too. And Virgos, we don't like playing games. We want the truth. We just want people to be straightforward. You like me, you don't. They don't want to do that. because it'll be too easy because they know that Virgos will figure them out, and then it's like, oh man, it's like my father tell me, women play games. Scientifically speaking, they're just following their nature. But what about good people? Good people. Good people, right, exist. But good people can be egotistical if they're not careful. You ever met that one good person who always got to prove how good they are, do philanthropy, do oh look at all how nice I am and whatnot? Those are the type of good people that you got to be weary about because they're technically not being good. They're just being a showboat. They're kind of they're like wolf in sheep's clothing. They're trying to be good, but they don't really know what it means to be good. Because being good doesn't boast, doesn't want, doesn't need. It does things secretly. Doesn't mean you can't talk about it. You just don't boast about it. Now you should talk about like, hey, we donated X amount of dollars, and after that you move on. You don't like make that the big highlight of your life, like, oh, I donated $1 million to this one person or this streamer. Good people do what they do, they keep it moving. Do you realize that I've done so much good for people that I honestly forgot what I've done? That's just how it's supposed to be. You do good and that's it. You talk about a little bit, you move on. You keep your focus. Good people are those who maintain balance in the world to a certain degree. And unfortunately, as much as we don't like these people, not chronic, welcome back to my realm. The evil people also play a role too. They pretty much keep good people in check. Let me say this one more time. Good people have a role to maintain a certain level of balance, right? So do evil people. Evil people keep good people in check. They keep on their toes. They make sure that they're tough. They make sure that they're wiser, stronger, faster. You know, because if a good person is always around good people, then they can start to remain aloof, lost. You know, then the only emotions that they'll feel truly is just happiness, a little bit of sadness. They'll be lost immediately. Notice how I keep repeating that word, lost. Because if you are always surrounded just by your clique and you don't explore and see that there's good and evil, and there's neutral good and neutral evil, you're going to forever be dumbfounded and forever be manipulated by people. You have to allow yourself to be exposed to certain things. Can you imagine if I was just a goody two shoe all the time and didn't know anything about certain? I would be the greenest individual in the world, and I would be the one that would not last long in this life. That is why I always have this discrepancy and not judgment, but just kind of like I raise my eyebrow at those that claim to be good people because of the fact that behind closed doors, they do a lot of shady things. I would rather a good person tell me that they made all these mistakes and that they are learning to be a good person than a good person tell me that they never did this and they never had this thought. Because that's what a woman will do. They'll make you seem like that they are miss perfect because they don't want you to see their flaws. But their flaws are really easy to pinpoint. You just have to pay attention to how they act. Women aren't really good at hiding how they act. All you have to do is find that one thing that triggers them, one thing, and you're going to see their whole true colors. The true test is they really love you is if they're willing to still make things work. That shows signs of maturity. Hey, you saw my imperfection, you saw my cracks. What are you going to do? Are you going to take advantage of me, or are you going to help me? Are you going to love me? Or are you going to pray for me? You know? Or however y'all see it. That's a good person. Someone who sees the flaws, sees the cracks, and doesn't take advantage of it. You see what I mean? How life just works stuff out? All you have to do is just don't pay it much attention. There you go. If certain things happen, people block you, they get rid of you, you just still focus on you. If you know you're in the wrong, do what you need to do to make it up And if you can't do it, immediately keep it moving. Not in front of them. Make them feel like, oh, you haven't gotten over them. Make them think that. But in reality, you keeping it moving. You gotta allow yourself to make mistakes to a point where you are willing to say, you know what, I can learn from this. Not, oh God, I hate myself. No, I can learn from this. Because that's the beauty of life. It's about learning. You don't want to go into this life knowing every single thing about every single person. You'll deal with this moment if that ever happens in your life where you're shocked and oh my God, and you're like, oh my goodness, is it really good in the world? And then you become bored. And then you'll just do what the rest of the rich people are doing. Figure out ways on how to manipulate the poor so you can be rich. Find out what their need is and make them want that exact need by putting them in a position mentally, physically, and emotionally where they have no choice. Even though that they have choices, they put themselves in a position where they don't have a choice. Hence, we have Bobby Ross, welcome to my realm. Hence, we have drugs and alcohol. Oh, how everyone likes to go to the bar. So not everyone, but most people, they go to the bar and they drink and they drink and they drink and they smoke and whatnot. And then all of a sudden they do too much and then they end up in the hospital, almost under cardiac arrest. And then it's just all of this. But yet, oh, we're sorry. And then one of the companies says, oh, we're not responsible for what happened. It was the warnings were clearly there, but they chose to do it anyway. They got lung cancer. That's on them. So keep it dirty hands as clean as they possibly can. There's dirt in it, and move on. Well, that's what a woman does. The warnings are there, the cautionary signs are there. You just don't want to pay attention. You didn't want to do your research. You didn't want to get information from others. Pay attention to a lot of lovey-dovey movies, even the bad ones. Same ordeal. They follow the same rules. Woman observes the guy. Guy observes the woman. Guy falls for the woman. Woman plays games. Woman, acts like, oh, this big, strong guy or whatever just happens to fawn over me. What are you going to do? Do you love me? Do you care for me? Pebby, welcome to my realm. See, yeah. I love when people get mad at me, right? Because they get so mad at me that they don't have nothing to do with me. But then as soon as life hits them, they come back and they say, a Virgo's favorite words, you were right. It's our favorite and it's our most hated words to hear from someone. Manny, welcome to my room. I remember I told someone the truth about how to handle a situation and they got so mad I didn't hear from them. That's just how we roll. We stop the nonsense. Now you probably figure too. So so you're saying the name of the game when it comes to me wanting to date a woman is just to ignore them? No, you didn't pay attention. You didn't listen to what I said. I'll go ahead and break this down in 4 easy ways. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play 2 videos. 2 videos that pretty much expose everything that I just talked about. Then you tell me, is this wrong or is this right? And if you get mad at me about it, that's perfectly fine. Get mad. The truth's supposed to make you mad. The truth's supposed to make you angry. So that way you can do something about it. Keaton, welcome to my realm. Number 1, if someone shows too much interest in you, make them earn it. Don't just automatically be the one that falls putty in someone's hands. Show them that you're worth, their time. And if they don't see it, immediately back away. Find someone else. Don't beg. Don't grovel. Don't be a simp. Puff your chest out. Go somewhere else. And keep in your head 8 billion people. Now, of course, the reason why I say 8 billion people is because you got to ask yourself, you got to do the math. Of course, you got to, separate it. Billions of women out there. Single. Don't fall for that. Oh, everyone's taking game. That's a setup. NV US Gamings, welcome to my realm. If you do that, you're gonna always win. Focus on you. Give them that chance. They screw up. They show that they're not interested. Find someone else. Do you. Look to keep a goal set in mind. Look at all the things. Teddy Never, welcome to my realm. Look at all the goals and what you need to do. Check your house. Check your body. Talk to your doctor. I promise you, there's so much you need to do for yourself. You ain't gonna have time for these games. Tom, welcome to my realm. So focus on you, your goals. Now, once you got that broken down, what do I do if a woman responds to me? Respond back. Talk, have a conversation. But don't make them feel like they're the only one. So number three, don't make them feel like they're the only one. Keep them in contact. Say hi every now and then. Maybe spread, share like a funny story, whatnot. But don't make it seem like they're the one, because they're playing the same game too. Well, I don't know if they're really into me. Let me find somebody else. See, you've probably heard this before, but I'm putting this in a way so that way it's broken down so you never have to fall for it again. Guys fall for this trick. Emily, welcome to my room. They fall for this trick because of two reasons. One, probably a good friend of theirs. Or two, a friend of theirs probably introduced them to that said woman or guy. You have to tell yourself there's much more I need to work on myself than to deal with this nonsense. You do that, they're going to start running after you. And then not just them. You're going to have a bunch of women and dudes start running after you. And then that's when you got to set those boundaries. And that's the last one, set those boundaries. You got to set those boundaries nice and tight. Don't make the same mistake that a lot of us do, all right, when it comes to dealing with folks that are taken or in polys. Set the record straight, man. Set the record straight. VR and you're an adult, whatever. Who cares? Real life, you set that record straight. Say, I ain't like that. What you do in VR is like, whatever. You're an adult. If you're a minor, you shouldn't even be on VR. You literally should be hitting the books. Hitting the books, learning new languages, taking a martial art. That's what you need to be doing. You don't need to be on social media. Get off social media. Go do something with your life. Ain't nothing here for you. Trust me. Social media will be here for you when you 18. I promise you. You ain't missing nothing. You ain't missing nothing. I mean, you could be on social media, but just certain sites, you need to talk to your parents about that. You need to really get all the answers that you need. Sky the Femboy, welcome to my realm. Now then, I just gave y'all the 4 little secrets. Improv 4004 _ 2, welcome to my realm. Now you can take and leave whatever this advice that I give you. But I don't understand. I don't get it. I know you don't, because I'm just speaking. This stupid fucking Virgo don't know what he's talking about. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, since Eradicate, good to see you, man. How you doing? So, now that we got all that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and introduce y'all to a video. Whether you like it or not, it's up to you. Now, I told you the truth. I try to help y'all. The rest is up to you. Just got to find that video. Where is it? Nothing that's too long. 100 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Straight up. Straight up. Okay. Oh! Y'all also probably wondering why women like bad dudes. The answer is simple. Because they want a guy or a woman that protects them. And if you don't show that, well, they're going to go for the bad guy. They're going to go for the person that, even if, they get abused and neglected by for a bit, it's, that's just the way they are, man. Listen. They want someone that can give them a little independence and protect them. They like being told what to do. They don't like having a little bit too much. too much, freedom. Because if you give them too much freedom, then they feel like, ooh, I can do whatever I want. Again, y'all not getting me. So let me just play this video. We're gonna react to it together, and you're gonna understand that it's not what we think. We're not saying, oh, they're evil, like, no, you don't know. We're gonna break this down, and you're gonna be like, oh. So here it is from Trauma Bay, and enjoy.
They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. But what if that fury isn't just a reaction, but a feature? What if, behind the mask of charm, fragility, and warmth, lies something colder, more calculating, an evolutionary weapon finely tuned for survival? Something that's not evil in the way we think of villains in a movie, but evil in the way nature itself is indifferent, ruthless,
Just
efficient,
connecting my
and
speaker so I
dispassionate.
can hear it.
Let's step into a darker.
Because after I'm done telling you all of this, you will never fall for the game again. Gojo Eyelashes, welcome to my room.
PC 202521062338. Connected to PC 202521062338.
Got it. All right, let's replay this.
But what if that fury isn't just a reaction, but a feature? What if, behind the mask of charm, fragility, and warmth, lies something colder, more calculating, an evolutionary weapon finely tuned for survival? Something that's not evil in the way we think of villains in a movie, but
Exactly.
evil in the way nature itself is indifferent.
Thank you. That's exactly what I just said. Thank you, Trauma Bay. Continue.
Ruthless, efficient, and dispassionate. Let's step into a darker lens of reality. Let's see what happens when we strip away the romantic illusions, the sentimental lies, and the poetic flattery, and stare directly into the core of female nature through the brutal eyes of Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher who dared to say out loud what most were too afraid to even think.
Because we're always taught to show and treat women like they're innocent, they can't do no wrong. That's where we made our biggest mistake.
Not by reason, not by morality, but by an unconscious, blind force, what he called the will to live. This will is the root of all suffering, all desire, all struggle. It doesn't care about truth. It doesn't care about justice. It just wants to keep reproducing itself at any cost. Life, for Schopenhauer, was a tragic
Totally feels.
escape,
Welcome to my realm.
an endless cycle of craving, mating, disappointment, and death. Now, imagine the role of woman in this machine, not as a partner, not as a soulmate, but as nature's bait. To Schopenhauer, women were not the better half. They were the seduction of the will itself. Their beauty, their voices, their tenderness, none of it was for love. It was nature's
Dolphins, welcome to my
disguise.
realm.
The true function of woman, he said, was reproduction, and every aspect of her personality, psychology, and behavior was merely an adaptation to manipulate man into sacrificing himself for that goal. That manipulation isn't always conscious. That's the terrifying part. It's not that.
Can you say that again, please? Because I don't want people to think that, oh, like women are like evil, like super villainous. No. Go back.
Self for that goal. That manipulation isn't always conscious. That's the terrifying part. It's not that women wake up plotting to deceive. It's that deception is baked into the code of their
biology. Thank you.
The smiles, the tears, the helplessness.
This is what I've been trying to tell
It
people.
all serves a purpose. And once you start to see it, you can't unsee it. The first illusion is love. Romantic love is the most dangerous lie of all. Schopenhauer believed love was nothing more than a trick played by the will to ensure reproduction. The feelings we call love, especially the burning desire a man feels for a woman, are simply chemical traps. A man thinks he's chasing happiness,
Mm-hmm.
intimacy, meaning, but what he's actually chasing is his own extinction. He devotes his resources, his
His
energy,
energy.
his future, for a fleeting illusion. And when that illusion fades, he's left drained,
Bitter
numb,
and
and
empty.
empty. And what about the woman?
Oh, the
The
woman
woman,
just keeps
however,
going.
because for her,
Exactly, because they could
men
just
was
go to the
never
next
about
person.
forever. It
Bingo.
was about securing what she
Now,
needed.
I will say this. There is one thing that I would like to add. A man, based on how they were raised, can also pretty much have this same tendency, but it's not the same as a woman. So you may hear stories like, "Oh, the man did the same thing," blah blah blah, but nah. Keep listening.
Needed at the time. A man to protect her, a man to fund her life, a man
Again, you can look at this as woman to man. I get, LGBTQ reasons. Just pay attention.
to validate her. And once he's no longer useful, the will pushes her to the next opportunity.
There you go.
And
They
if you
just
doubt
instantly move
this,
on.
look around. Look at divorce rates.
Rates.
Look at custody battles. Look at how often men are discarded the moment they stop being valuable. Schopenhauer described women as short sighted and cunning, capable of deep manipulation without deep thought.
You will never have to deal with this with your mother, your aunt, all right? Because they love you. I want you to understand that. You'll never have to deal with this with family. Now, of course, unfortunately for some of y'all, you may have dealt with that with a mother, but there is a woman out there in your family that will never do that to you. Because you want to know why? Because that's true love. That's family, man.
Not because they are stupid, but because their intelligence is wired
Wired
differently.
differently.
They are instinctively social, instinctively strategic. They can
I
feel
have dealt with this so many times, and to the point where it's like, okay, sometimes I will purposely write a long block of text to a woman just to see how they react. Some of them, surprisingly, that's how I can tell they're a good person, will respond to me in a very empathetic or sympathetic way and still want to be cool with me. Others look at it like, you're making me uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay. And all I do is I get a little tally mark and I just say, okay, we got another one. Okay, we got another one. Oh, this one got triggered. We got another one. I've been doing this since I was when I received my first compliment when I was in kindergarten.
action
So the
is a
list is pretty
terrifying
long.
skill. Smile in your face while planning your replacement. And because society teaches men to worship women, to see them as sacred, innocent, and pure, he never sees the dagger coming.
Now, I will say this. There are some women out there who don't play these games. By nature they do, but they choose not to. That's the nature of a good woman. Someone that actually is willing to not play these games and actually, be a sweet individual. They're out there. They're hard to find. But you piss them off long enough, they'll go back to this.
That's the genius of the design. Evil hides best when it wears the face of an angel. Let's
Ooh!
not forget, Schopenhauer wasn't writing in a modern, cynical world. He was writing in the 1800s, in a society that revered women as delicate flowers. And even then,
They're still
he
out
saw
there.
through it. He said women are like plants that grow in the shade, shrewd, adaptable, deceptive. They don't confront the world directly,
Nope.
they work from behind
On
the
the
curtain.
curtain.
Where
Bingo.
a man might fight for what he wants, a woman influences others to fight for her. But let's go deeper. Think about the role of suffering. Schopenhauer believed suffering was the essence of life. And women, in this grim view, are not just the gatekeepers of life,
Mm-hmm.
they are the agents of suffering. Every birth is a new prisoner
Prisoner.
thrown into the cycle of pain. And what compels that birth? Seduction, manipulation, the illusion of love, the trap. In a way, women are the carriers of the disease of existence. Again, this isn't about blame, it's about understanding the machinery. Women aren't
If you
evil.
understand how the system works, you can break it and you can be different from it. That's why certain women are looked upon as, good people because they don't follow this. But when they do, That's why they say, "Oh, you're just like the rest of them." Get it? This is when this is what they mean when they say women are evil. They don't mean that like literally. They mean that by nature.
In a comic book sense. They are evil in the way a spider is
Evil to a fly. There you go.
It's not personal. It's just how
The system works.
And it's not only men who suffer under this design. Women too are slaves to the will. They are driven by instincts.
Listen closely, lesbians.
Control. The obsession with youth, the fear of aging, the insecurity, the competition with other women, all of it stems from the same blind force. Nature uses them.
Yep.
Chews them up and throws them away once their reproductive value declines. That's why aging hits women differently. For men, age often brings power, wisdom, even attraction. For women, age is a kind of death in life. Their social currency vanishes, their beauty fades, their power dissolves. And beneath the surface, many of them know it. That's why so many try to hold on to youth through surgeries,
makeup, filters,
and denial.
Yup.
Because without beauty, their ability to manipulate the game collapses.
Ta!
And what
True.
is beauty, really? According to Schopenhauer, it's not just an aesthetic pleasure, it's a weapon. Female beauty is evolution's bait. It hypnotizes men into irrational behavior. It overrides logic.
Yup.
It makes kings kneel and empires fall. And what's terrifying is that women don't need to be aware of this power to use it.
It's natural.
Their biology handles the script. The smile, the tone, the timing, it's all automatic.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed how a woman can change personalities depending on who she's around? Sweet and soft with one man, cold and
Different to the other.
loud and aggressive with one group, demure with another. It's not that she's being fake, it's that her personality is fluid, because her goal isn't truth, it's advantage. Adaptability.
I know a lot of y'all are mad right now, but oh well.
In a world where men are taught to be static, honorable, and loyal, this flexibility gives women the upper hand. Schopenhauer even.
And what happens when people like me and many others don't play this game? We're weird. We're freaks. We're bastards. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. Oh, you're not dating? Something's wrong with you. You need to go see a doctor. Yeah.
That women lack a true sense of justice. Not because
I
they're-
win because I don't play the game. I make my own rules while making sure that there's a balance and doing the right thing the best I know how. That's how good people like us win. We don't play these games. The moment I sense this from a woman, I get the hell out.
malicious, but because justice requires objectivity, and women are wise.
Because you win by not playing the game. You win by doing something that is indifferent to the world. Oh my goodness, something is wrong with you. Hedgehog, welcome to my
prioritize
room.
what benefits them or their offspring. A man might die for a principle. A woman will twist the principle to fit her needs. And society lets her because she is protected by myth.
Oh.
Myth is the final piece of the puzzle. The myth of the virtuous woman, the loving mother, the innocent girl. These aren't truths. They're cultural.
Nor, welcome to my room.
Written to keep men obedient, self-sacrificing, and blind. And in the background, the will keeps grinding forward, using women as the lures and men as the prey. This is not to say there aren't good women.
Thank you.
This isn't a blanket condemnation.
Thank you.
But the purpose of dark philosophy isn't comfort. It's
Clarity.
And clarity.
And we Virgos love clarity. Woohoo! We love it.
Is terrifying.
Because we can deal with it.
So, what do we do with this knowledge? Do we hate women?
No. I'll tell you what you do with this knowledge. You learn from it and you make yourself aware. So when you start acting out of your true purpose of God, then you know what's going on.
No. That would be like hating the weather for being cold. The better question is, how do we protect ourselves from being ruled by our instincts?
Focus on you. Do what makes you happy. Don't fall for it. If someone compliments you, oh, say thank you. You know, ask for help. and just don't play the game. Triple H said, it's all about the game. How about I'm not playing your game? It's all about the game. Nope, I ain't playing your game. I'm good. Make your own rules. Make your own success. Show the world that success is bigger than money, bigger than fame, bigger than having a woman or a guy. Things are different now. Happiness may be a lie, but peace sure as hell ain't.
How do we step outside the game? Schopenhauer believed the only escape from the will was renunciation, rejecting desire itself.
There you go.
Not just romantic desire, but the entire trap of craving,
Chasing and needing.
He admired celibacy,
Solitude,
and artistic
contemplation.
In that stillness, he believed, we might find some peace. But that's a hard path.
It is.
Most will never.
Hi.
Most will
I walk this path every day. Hello.
Falling for the same trap over and over. And maybe that's the cruelest joke of all. Because deep down, even when we know the truth, even when we
see it,
the pattern, we
still want the illusion.
We still want her smile. We still want to believe she loves us, that we matter, that it's different this time. But it's not. It never was. The game is older than us.
It is.
Older than memory. And it plays on. The question is, will you keep playing blind? Or will you finally open your eyes? And when you do, what will you see? Will you see a lover or a predator or something far worse? A mirror.
Oh!
A reflection of the will itself. Cold, hungry, eternal, and wearing the face of
a woman. Well, well, well. There you go. That's why when I see certain people that I can think about right now, I just shake my head. That's all I do. I just shake my head. I want to help them. I want to explain this to them, but they're not ready. So what do we Virgos do? See, this is why Virgos are like considered the hated heroes in people's story, because we're like the ones that try to like help and warn people like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Look, man, you're getting set up. Don't do this. And then we're the ones who get beat up and betrayed at the end of the day. So, there you go. There's the truth. The whole truth. Nothing but the truth. Why do you think when I go on Discord servers and the first time or like the first few times I get ignored or whatnot, or no one like acknowledges that I exist, I get the fuck out? And then all of a sudden, the moment that someone like me leaves, who's quiet, barely talks, why'd you leave my server? What's going on? Are you okay? Good people exist. You just gotta do a lot of work to find them. And I mean a lot of work. And you probably think to yourself, well, why do people play these games? It's natural. Don't believe me? All right. When a kid, right, wants something from their parent, and their parent tells them no, what does that kid do by nature? They either shut down, they cry, or they act out, depending on how they're raised. And depending on what that parent does determines the outcome of how that kid is going to act the next day and the next day and the next day. That kid is going to use psychological manipulation, especially if they learned it from someone else, especially their own family. So let's just say they learned that the aunt didn't get along so well with their mother. They can use that as a psychological manipulation to make that kid side with the auntie instead of the mother, which can cause the mother to have problems. And like the guy said, this doesn't just relate to just women. This is just life itself. But then we got people like me who do things that are outside the game, give things, do things that are nice and kind. They look at me like, What's the catch? I look at these people like, what catch? Just take it. Oh, I don't want to be a burden to you. What are you talking about? I did this nice thing for you. I don't want anything from you. Just take it. That's why they call us the practical givers. You know, the one thing that my mother will always tell me, and it will always make me shed a tear. I feel sorry for people who just don't know when to stop playing the game. You can win in life if you stop playing the game. This is how the rich get over the poor all the time. Keep them under medication. Keep them thinking that, oh, they're free, they can do whatever they want when they're actually in their own little prison. Now, what do you think a woman does? Exactly. And this is a learnt behavior. Now, to the women that you see that are nice, sweet, and kind to you, that actually act like a decent human being, those are the ones that don't play the game. Those are the ones that are raised. And those are when the guys go after. But guys, be careful, because if you go after those type of women, that means even though they're raised, they also know your game too. They also know what you're trying to do. It's a headache. It's a headache because all you're trying to do is just have peace and solitude. They just simply just want to keep you stuck. And when I see dudes simp over certain people, especially streamers, all I can do is just shake my head and look. People don't get it. Sometimes I do the things that I do with people just to see how they will treat me. I've said this multiple times to see who catches on when how many times I say it. Sometimes I send a simple hi or hello or and whatnot. And if that person is true, cool. People will keep hitting their head until they learn to just stop playing games and be real. Look, man, you're pissing me off. I don't want to be bothered by you. Virgos respect that. Versus, oh, you're such a good person, but then behind your back, oh, they get on my nerves. I can't stand them. They're always so nice and blah blah blah. Why can't you just be real? Because the game won't let you be real. I encourage everyone to look up Machevely and Schoenberg's and Stodik's videos. But the reason why people don't do it is because the truth hurts. When I learned about the game of life, and I was like, I don't do that. I was like, oh, I do that. And at first I went from wow to laughing. You can't escape this, no matter how many times you try to. You want to know how I know? I deal with this with certain people where I would test them. Hey, here's my schedule for collabs. Oh, I'll do it. It'll be 2 months later. Don't hear nothing from them. It's just the way the life of how it works. That's why I say life just works itself out. So don't worry about it. If things don't worry about it. Don't worry about it if you deal with someone that just doesn't like you. It'll work itself out. The only way you win is if you understand what's going on and you be one up on it. The folks that make these videos, they're not doing this to try to bring division. They're doing this to bring unity. They're doing this so people could be well aware of how this all works. They're doing this so people won't fall for the trap. They sacrificed their life, right, to make sure that people would wake up. But waking up is effort. It doesn't just happen because you watched a movie. It doesn't just happen just because you finally start to get that job or get that lover or start working out more. It is a slow, painful, progressive process. And the more you know, as my professor told me, and I know I said this multiple times, the more you suffer. Because then all these people that you think that are for you, they're not for you. I have a lot of people on my friends list for a reason. I always like to see who's real, who's not. My heart already knows the difference. I just like to see what happens. I just want to know. So then when that person says that, who are you? I'm like, gotcha. Unfortunately, Virgos have to, you know, be a part of the game in a way as well because they got to know who they dealing with. We like our peace. We like our solitude. We don't have time for these games. We don't have time for people, trying to destroy us. We got a life. And I know there's people out there that are not Virgos that have lives too. And it's just like if people get annoyed with the fact that I keep talking about Virgos and stuff, that's fine. I don't care. I'm not worried about it. You know, Heck, I even have a VR group that's dedicated to Virgos, right? Because there's not a Virgo group out there. And that group, and I'm going to start my first orientation first thing next week before I go on my 1 month break from everything. Um, that group is going to be dedicated to helping Virgos be more wiser and smarter. So that way they won't be hurt. What we learned is that the other signs, they got this. They may be hurt, they may suffer and all that stuff, but unfortunately they got to deal with that so they can be better. Virgos, what they try to do, they try to help this person that's not even of their own sign, and then they get hurt, and then they end up being bitter. Nah, sometimes we gotta learn from them. I think with other signs, we gotta learn from them more than trying to help them. They hurting, they crying and stuff, but maybe we gotta learn from them and back off, so that way we know what's going on. And also, Misfits, thank you so much for the hearts and whatnot, and the 6 roses, much appreciated. My eternal gratitude. The whole purpose of this stream, right, is just to let people know women are evil, not by how they were raised, but by nature. Well, what about men? Men are evil too. Well, okay, yeah, you could call us evil too. Absolutely. We do a lot of shady things too, but women are the ones that are the driver of it. And this is not to be offended. This is so you can have your eyes open a little bit more. And the more your eyes are open, oh, you're gonna be mad. You're gonna throw things. You're gonna be pissed, but you're gonna be relieved afterwards. You're gonna be less stressed. People are in your life for a season, and once that season is over, that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you want to know what's funny? The real folks, when I go back to certain servers or whatnot after a long day of work and stuff, and they say hi, I know. All right, they remember me. They're the ones that care about me. You see, you gotta understand, caring people still exist. Love still exists. It's just if you don't understand how nature works, first, you will be manipulated by religion, politics, and by certain societal groups. You have to know how it works first before you go any further. When my Virgo friend Patat introduced me to socialist witches, I looked into that and I saw just how easy it was for people in society to be manipulated, even more so than ever before. How simple misconceptions can bring about certain truths that scare people to the point where they don't want to learn about certain truths anymore. Now, there you go. What you do with this information is up to you. I'll be back. I'm going to do part 2 of my stream. This is your naturally born hated Virgo speaking. And I'm going to be right back. I'm going to end this first part of the stream with this. When men and women, regardless of gender, race, and whatnot, are able to respect and accept their differences, their perfections and their imperfections, their mistakes, and their choices, good and bad, then love has a chance to blossom. John Gray. Yeah, we live in a society where now the dudes are being called hoes. They call them simps. And the women, or now they say good women are hard to find. All right. To those on the YT, Trovo, honestly, who cares? YouTube, Trovo, welcome back to my realm. To those that are on the TikTok, welcome back to my realm. And today we're going to talk about something a little bit more lighthearted, something that I know I said 2 videos, so let me just
What would you?
let me see if I can find. I'm trying to find that one video about the harsh truths about life. Oh, Dark Secrets of Life. That's what it's called. Dark Secrets. Hey, Tech Rat, welcome back. I'm trying to find this video. I can't find it. I'm doing pretty good. Oh, here it is. It's called The Dark Truths About the Game of Life. This will set you free. But I'm not going to play it. I'm going to just say y'all the link. Y'all do whatever y'all want with it. You can throw it in the trash. You can throw it in the trash or whatever. But man, ever since combined with what I learned from Dr. Darius Daniels and Ron Carpenter, ever since life's been a lot better for me, I tell you. But anyway, let's go back to this. Now, we've all been hearing a lot about gaming. Oh my goodness, guys, gaming is back. AJ, welcome to my room. Gaming is back. Gaming is peak. Gaming is where it needs to be. Gaming. Bring back Conquer. Bring back this game and this. Eddie on the radio. Welcome to my realm. But I want to just let people know this right now, whether you like the truth or not. Gaming is not back. Gaming is actually in trouble. Gaming is in danger because of the fact that everyone is over reliant on collabs, DLC, and bringing back sequels. Where are the new ideas? Where are they indeed? We may never know. $7, $8 DLC characters for fighting games, season passes, Ultimate Deluxe Edition, something that we've all saw, coming my way in secret. But we don't want to admit that we saw it. We want to act as if, oh, we never saw this. No. Yeah, you saw it. You just didn't want to believe it. You know, we got, EA being EA again, like always. We got Gearbox, Randy Pitchford over here saying stuff like, "Oh, the game, like the deluxe edition of Borderlands 4, could be $200." Amy Past, William Johnson, Maddie, welcome to my realm. So, with all that being said, even with with indies pretty much holding the game industry on its back, Latina, Hector Rise, welcome to my realm. So, with all that being said, right, the truth of the reality is that gaming is dying. The entertainment industry is dying right before our eyes because it's just desperation. Look at this character that we're adding to this game that y'all asked for. That's desperation. Hey, look, we're gonna add this character in Guilty Gear. That's desperation. None of this is based off of, oh, the fans, the fans. I mean, yeah, true, but oh, look, Bubsy's back. You know, this is back. This is back. All this character's back. All this game. Jesus love you, absolutely. It's like all of this is back, but what does it really mean? What this really means is that we are about to see a gaming crash. But what if I told you that the gaming crash probably already happened and you just don't even know it? Let's look at the statistics. We got so many folks losing their jobs in this industry. Uh, Anytime a new movie releases, it doesn't make as much money as it used to. Even though you got investors say, "Oh, these movies are making so much money," but yet the actors and whatnot, you don't hear from them. You don't hear from a lot of them. But what is it that the people are constantly asking for? Sean, DJJ, welcome to my realm. We want sequels. We want another this. We want we want. But where are the new ideas? Now remember when I did a stream when I was reacting to Castle Crashers, and I was had a plan to pretty much react to all the Castle Crashers like DLC characters. Well, the reason why I just stopped caring about that is because Castle Crashers, as we speak, the uh the hype died. Something that could have literally been impactful for the game industry itself, and it died. Why? Because of pure incompetence. Pure incompetence in a way where people just immediately just stop caring. We got 29,000 um, plus characters, right? And as I stated before, no option to pretty much switch between set characters. So what happens when you don't follow just a simple instruction of just giving the people what they really want? It just dies. And that's what happened. This Castle Crashers DLC, right, went from 5,000 people, like 5,000 players, or was it probably a little bit more? I think it was 7,000, all the way back down to 2,000. You know, it's really sad that we're seeing this because you know, the game industry is so desperate that we are literally just seeing just anything just being thrown out of the blue. We got Beavis and Butthead in Call of Duty now, you know, along with the boys. We got, you know, all of these 3v3 fighting games coming out all of a sudden. We got animes just coming out of nowhere. Animes that a lot of people can't even keep up with. It's just they're just feeding so much into this machine, and the machine is being overloaded. And yes, it's making money, but who's really winning at the end of the day? Who can really keep up with all of these games and movies? No one can. Who wins? Well, the ones that are on top that already saw this coming. We got another Battlefield, folks. $70. Guys, this is going to be different. This is going to be different. We got another Madden. Guys, this is going to be different. We got another Fortnite skin pack. Guys, this is going to be different. This is going to be amazing. And what do people do? They buy, they consume because, the fear of missing out. And then we are back from the very beginning. We're back to square one. It's a shame because we could literally have some of the best games ever. Siona, welcome to my realm. Everyone, welcome to my realm. We got some of the best games ever. New IPs from AAA companies. But because they're so scared and because they're so desperate, they see new ideas as poison to the industry. So therefore, they keep relying on what works. For Nintendo, it's Mario and Zelda. They'll sprinkle in some new, little IPs here and there just to make the other small company feel bad on the inside on the fact that, hey, we told you it wasn't going to make as much money as this one. Activision Blizzard, they're going to keep pushing Overwatch until it's dead. And of course, they got Call of Duty. And of course, they got League of Legends. Was it? Not League of Legends. World of Warcraft, surprisingly, that game is still alive. We got EA, which is the sports games. As much as people don't like them and they complain about them, they still buy them. And then we got the indies that give people the illusion that gaming is saved and gaming is being more innovative than ever. Now let's go into the movie scene. Movies, at first I thought, oh, well, it can never die because, people love their movies. We got streaming services now. We got all these big major movies. What are some of the big movies that everyone keeps talking about over and over again? You got Bad Guys 2, that's a sequel. We got Zootopia 2, that's a sequel. We got Shrek 5, that's a sequel. But then when you hear about these new ideas, right? These movies that are award winning and everyone should watch them, and they barely break bank. Oh, they make so much money, but not enough for a sequel. And when the sequel does come out, it makes less money. It's this perpetual loop that people constantly just keep, having themselves involved in, when we just have to accept the fact that the machine is overloaded. That is why it is difficult for people to get into the entertainment industry. It is difficult for people to get into streaming because it's overloaded. What more can people do? It's just like with VR chat. What more can certain groups do? The innovation, it's not dead. It's just that people just don't know what to do anymore. So that's why we got Metal Gear Solid, Delta, Snake Eater, another Metal Gear. Where's Conquer? Where's Sly? Where are other IPs that have been sitting? Oh, and then when they do release like Shinobi, right? We're all excited for that. We're excited for the new Sonic racing game. But how long will these games actually last to help maintain this game industry? Not very long. And that is very concerning. When you look at this from a logical standpoint, from a standpoint from, an investor, this is not sustainable at all for anybody. And how many of these games are going to constantly just keep being pumped out, pumped out, pumped out, pumped out, pumped out, pumped out, pumped out until before you know it, crash. It's going to happen. We got movies constantly being made. And we got critics that are saying the same things. This story is too similar to this story. This story is too similar to this story. There's no spacing out. We got Tyler Perry movies. Some you either like or you don't, but people are criticizing the acting and the stories. It's a sign. It is a sign that because of the fact that there's not a lot of money being pumped into this industry, sacrifices have to be made. Limitations have to be implemented. You know, and that's why you're not getting your precious new Def Jam game or whatnot. Now, if you do happen to see these new games, right? Like, oh my goodness, I haven't seen this game in a while. Well, cool, but don't expect to have everything that you want. For example, if they were to announce another Killer Instinct, keep your expectations low. Don't think, oh guys, they're gonna bring back all these characters. No, they're not. They're gonna bring back so many characters, and then once it makes so much money, then they'll give you what you want. The problem with making stories is no longer the point. Money's the only goal. There you go. You got it. You got it. Jari the Sellers, welcome to my realm. See, I'm very concerned about this because everyone is saying gaming is back. Gaming is back. And I've been hearing this over and over again. Movies are back, baby. This is back, baby. Anime, is still peak. Now, again, as I stated before, I'm going to leave anime out of this out of respect to the late, great Kira Toriyama. So I'll let them figure that out. But when it comes to gaming, this is the industry that's making billions. Who knows? Maybe one day it'll make quintillions of dollars. This is an industry that's so unstable that it makes all this money, but yet we're hearing about layoffs. We're hearing about companies going belly up. Heck, even the game that I'm a part of, Pericles Oofling Resistance, the game sold decently, but it didn't sell well above expectations. And it's not the fault of the creator. It's definitely not the fault of the artist. No, it's just the fault of the fact that this industry is not stable. So, for example, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, "We need, they need to release Dinosaur Planet." I would love to see Dinosaur Planet, but why? Why release it in literally? I call this the era of desperation. Like Shinobi, the DLC, right? It clearly states, and I quote, pre-order the deluxe edition to play as to fight against Dr. Eggman and other of the two Sega bosses from the past. That's awesome. But to someone that's like, let's just say to someone that's like, not from the 90s, they're gonna look at this and say, why would I care about this? You know, who's Doctor? Okay, they probably may know who Doctor Eggman because all the memes and stuff. But the other two bosses, they may be like, who are these characters? So it's like when you think about it, they're just taking a risk at this point. Sega is taking a risk, and Sega's like, well, we're making all this money to Sonic and whatnot, so we could do this. But when they learned the painful truth that a lot of these games are just not making as much money anymore because it's not really them. It's just the fact of the economy and just the fact that investors are a little bit more nervous on what to put their money towards. So they're just pretty much just hoping. Mortal Kombat 1, a game that Ed Boon clearly keeps stating that, oh, it succeeded, it did well, but we're not getting any numbers or like exact figures. We're just told that these games are succeeding. They're doing well. But, but, how well are they actually doing? And see, listen, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The Black Sapphire, welcome to my realm. And Roderick, welcome to my realm. And Ab, welcome to my realm. And Asta, and Ian the Wolf, and Rasputin, and Jamie, and Jerry the Sellers. I hate to be bearer of bad news, but if this continues, I will not be surprised if the IRS gets involved with the game industry. And then we start learning some really dark truths about where this money is coming from, how folks are able to like have all these collabs and all of a sudden these games are still failing and people are still losing their jobs and there's no unions to actually no, there's not enough unions to protect, you know, uh these game designers, to make sure that they at least have a stable job, a stable income. Like folks will say, well, what are you talking about? We win because we get all these games and stuff. Technically, yeah, but who's gonna be able to play all this stuff? You know? I mean, cool, you get another anime game. Cool, you get this, you get another fighting game, you get this, but you gotta really think about it from a logical standpoint. We want, but who has the time anymore? You get what I'm saying? It's like they're releasing this stuff now during a time where people just don't have enough time. Unless you're a streamer like myself and many others, and Sienna here, who's in my chat, like who's gonna really have time? Like, there's a video out that's really interesting about how Steam pretty much found a way to have y'all spend money on Steam games, but yet y'all have a Steam library of games that you barely even touched. Because the key was the fact that, oh, the games are on sale or you could find this elsewhere for a cheaper price. Again, that's not a bad thing if you can afford it, but it just makes you wonder and think what's really actually happening to the game industry. I'm gonna give y'all another good example. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Some of y'all probably don't even know what this game is. Well, there you go. So this character, right, Ken Masters. Now, y'all know who he is from Street Fighter. Everyone knows Street Fighter is. Even if you're not a fighting game fan, you know. This game, right, even with this DLC character, had a spike and like maybe up to maybe like 1,000+ players. And that number immediately dropped after less than 2 days. 2 days, right? Because people were so hyped about this game because they wanted to play some Street Fighter characters, right? And of course, Fatal Fury fans, they're like, oh man, I can't wait to, you know, play as my favorite character. And it just goes back to that loop. Dune the Dark Ages. That's another good one. Love the game. Fantastic. But people had issues with the story. People had issues with the combat. And the game, from what I've learned, is slowly trying to catch up to the sales of Doom Eternal. So we call these big bad, game designers, right? We call them like the villains. But I have to ask, are they really the villains? I mean, obviously the answer is probably yeah, but let's just put it in this perspective. Are they really the villains, or are some of these folks that come out there and act like complete jackass, let's just be real, are actually secretly trying to warn us about this industry that's dying? And that's scary, because we don't want to think about that. We want to just think about, oh no, it's everything's good, everything's fine and whatnot. But we got to ask ourselves as to what caused this to happen. People say, oh, it's the LGBTQ, it's the fact that they conformed and whatnot. It's just oh, it's Black Lives Matter. Oh, it's DLC, it's microtransactions. The answer is none of them. The true answer is the fact that there was no balance. You can have your inclusion, but you also have to have a good story behind it. You could have your lesbian gay couple, but you have to have a good story behind it. And yeah, greed. It was greed. It was an overabundance of it. Hey guys, here's this one good, video game based off of a lesbian couple that did so well. Hey, let's just pump more and more and more and more and more and more of it. And to the point where it's so unstable that people can't keep up with this. People can't keep up with these games. Like, for example, I didn't know there was a Bubsy 4D until I met someone by the name of Monteletto. Check them out. They're awesome, TikToker. Um, who told me about it? I was like, there's a Bubsy 4D. I didn't know about this. It's getting so bad to the point that they can't even afford to advertise this stuff properly. And that's the biggest thing. That's why a lot of these games like Call of Duty and Battlefield, as much as they're terrible, right? They're able to succeed because of the fact of one reason and one reason only. And that reason is the fact that they have more money. But even with all of that money, they burn it in such a way that they invest it so poorly to the point where it can cause their demise. Not the demise of the corporation, but the demise of the actual workers, the game designers, the artists. That's why their jobs pretty much are kind of in a situation where it's not. That's why you don't see a lot of people going into game design anymore. There was a time, right, where I actually wanted to be a game designer, where I actually wanted to learn about gaming. And I still do, and into artistry and whatnot, like being an artist. But now, because the market is so oversaturated, it's like you either stick in the indie department. Also, hey, Purple Royalty, you either stay in the indie department or just don't bother at all. Because if you are in that industry, right, thinking you're gonna make all of this money, I feel bad for you. No, I'm not gonna laugh at you. I actually feel bad for you because, you know, that just shows you that you are everything that's wrong with the industry, because you're in it for money, but you're not in it to make something that's going to last forever. It's pretty much like a passion, it's pretty much like being a part of a passion project. You go in not expect to make a lot of money, but just enough so you can feed your family or yourself or whatnot. If you decide to, get married or whatever, that's your choice. And if you pretty much show that same passion and love, people will see that and they'll want to support you. So then it comes to this question. Well, why is it that people keep buying these terrible games? Because it's the safer option. They know that they'll at least get another sequel of this garbage and at least get a little update here and there. And they know that through updates that they can make the game slightly better. Whereas with an indie game, they look at it and say, well, we don't know, because they don't have as much money to, actually update the game. So they can only update the game so many times, only add so much content. But at least with the AAA market, they know that they're going to get something, even if it's not something that they entirely want, but it's something to still satisfy their need and their addiction. Hence, that's where the microtransactions and the loot boxes come in, and that's where this deadly cycle continues. I pretty much talked about in the stream about why I would never support Fortnite, like where I actually would like buy a battle pass, because I know how dangerous it is. I know that the one time I do it, I'm gonna get hooked. And I'll be like, well, the battle pass is cheaper than actually buying a game. So why don't I just put in my budget and just keep buying the battle pass? I just told myself no, and I'm gonna do it. I don't mind like buying the cards to like give away to, like people, whatnot, if it's in my budget. But or like as a gift or like a giveaway. But me personally, I just don't really see a point in even supporting Fortnite, for myself, just to get the skins, because it doesn't do anything for me. It's an always online game. And I do my best to stay away from always online games because there's a chance, if it's not from a AAA company, it could fail. And if it fails from a AAA company, that's just due to pure incompetence and not listening to their community. Communities help for anything to grow, but at the end of the day, they are also the determinant of whether or not folks have their jobs or not still. This isn't making any sense good, because that's the thing. The entertainment industry doesn't make any sense. How is it that all of these movies and games can make so much money and yet still fail at the same time? Like it's crazy. The new Elio Disney movie, right? I didn't get a chance to like finish it, but look at how much money that went into Elio, like the development and the production of Elio. So let's like do the math. I'm gonna look up that movie real quick. Elio, the movie, Wikipedia. So this is projected, right? The budget for that movie, right, is $150 million to 200+ million. They can't even give us an exact estimate. But in the box office in total, because it was released on June 10th of 2025, Del Captive Theater, and then June 20th, 2025, in the United States, altogether, it only made $151 million. Let me put this into a perspective so y'all understand. If you put in $150 million, like you literally had to put in $150 million, and you only made 151 million, you got to do the math. You put in 150 and you only got back 151 million, and then you have to think about all the people you have to pay back. You technically made less than what you invested in. Thus the movie was a failure. Good God. That, I mean, this is Disney we're talking about, and this movie made less than its budget. And I know some people say, well, it's the story, well, it's this, well, it's that, well, it could, it's just, listen, I'm going to say to all of y'all answers and speculation, the answer is yes and maybe. Was it, the inclusion of, certain, societal groups and, movements? Possibly. Was it the fact that maybe it was due to censorship? Maybe. Was it just the fact that Disney just keeps following the same formula of how they tell their stories, where they could actually go a little bit deeper than not? For instance, why is it that in the movie of Elliot, also Zio Cold Puppy, welcome to my realm. Why is it that in the movie Elliot, right? And this is just my opinion. It could be wrong, and that's good if it's wrong or right. It doesn't matter. Why didn't they make the story stronger by actually having this character be like a foster kid? Someone that has nothing. We pretty much empathize with the character. Learn to love and care for the character, feel for the character. You know, someone that deals with these mixed emotions, so we can actually get to know them. And then they're like, you know what? They learn about, they're introduced to a book, learn about science, learn about this, and ooh, aliens. And then that would have made the scene where he's just sitting there looking for aliens make a lot more sense. And then him getting bullied, and then, him being made fun of and stuff. I feel like they could have written that part a little bit stronger, which would have made Elio a lot more of a memorable character. No, instead, what we got is just the same old trope from Disney for so long. People are tired of it, they're sick of it, and that's why it gets the ratings that it received. Disney wants to keep recycling the same thing, and this is why I'm very concerned for Zootopia 2. Yes, Inside Out 2 did a fantastic job, barely, but Zootopia 2 seems to fall within the same realm. Look at Bad Guys 2, a movie that actually questions about the morality of being good and being bad, which is honestly pretty difficult to do. Which The Boys, right, the TV show, and of course Invincible, displays this semi perfectly. Not fully perfectly, but perfectly. Where you got Mark, right, who's trying not to walk into the shoes of Omni Man. And then you got Omni Man, right? Who pretty much has done so much research on humans and whatnot that he sees them as insignificant. Like, why even bother? why even bother? I pretty much already know how this is gonna go. And Mark is over here trying to tell his dad like we could still help them. And he's saying, I'm like in 1,000+ years old. I've seen people. I've seen what they do. I've seen how selfish they are. I'm not gonna waste my time with them anymore. And when you see it from my point of view, then you're gonna have the same way. Then we got Homelander, who pretty much has dealt with a very abusive childhood, right? And grew up to be this arrogant, prickish, you know, somewhat, you know, he claims to be a hero, but he's actually kind of like some call him like anti-hero ish. Most people call him a villain, just straight up a manipulative villain. Okay, but here with Elio, it's just Now let's just take what I just said, right, and compare that to AAA game writing. You get this particular character, right, and they pretty much, yeah, Homelander is the villain, right, but some people call him an anti-hero for some reason. Fluttershy, welcome to my realm. Um, See, that's the thing. See, a lot of people kind of confuse Homelander for being a villain or anti-hero, when of course the main villains were the people that pretty much experimented on him, which I guess he went for like being like this tragic hero to villain based on his choices, how many people he killed, and his carelessness. It's really kind of confusing when you think about it. He's a complicated character because you look at him like, is he really bad? Is he really good? you know and it's kind of like the same with Butcher. If you really put it in that perspective, hey, Winter Breeder, welcome to my realm. I mean, you would say that they're all villains because they all made like really terrible decisions. From Butcher, from who is it, from the Six, you know of course, what was it, what's that guy, A Train, of course. In the comics he was portrayed as this disgusting individual, but in the show they kind of portray him as like this tragic hero. Yeah, people who identify Homelander think he is hero or anti. He's not a hero. I can assure you right now that he's not a hero. But yeah, but let's just go back to like AAA writing. So let's just go into the realm of like, I don't know, Ubisoft maybe. Ubisoft storytelling is unfortunately formulaic. There are moments where it's good, and there's moments where you're just like, why didn't you go deeper? Why didn't you go a little bit more, emphasis like you did with Voss and Far Cry 3? Because they know that it still works. They know that even if people don't like their formula, it still works. They still make their money, and they can go on about their business, and they can still stay afloat. Because again, I think what's happening here is that the entertainment industry is so unstable that even the stockholders themselves, as greedy as they still are scared because they see the power of the people. They see that the people can literally just cause these companies to go under at any time that they want. And they're like, oh, whoa, they're catching on. Well, what do we do about that? What do we do? So we have to ask ourselves, in the world, right? In this generation where we are seeing countless products constantly failing, succeeding, and then failing again. And then you hear all these stories about the sacrifices that a lot of these workers and game designers, whatnot, had to make, such as crunch, missing meals, not being able to spend time with family. It makes you ask yourself, is it really worth it at the end of the day? To have all of these, welcome back, Scotty fanboy, just to have all of these amazing games, but yet nothing really for it. I think the real question is, when is the game industry going to crash? Because it's coming, whether we like it or not. It's happening, whether we want to believe so or not. And that's the scary part. We don't want it to die, but I think in order for things to get better, it needs to die because it is beyond unstable. It's okay. It's like dealing with a nuclear reactor, right? When the levels, like where the energy levels are just way, overboard, you got two options. You can shut it off, or you could just keep let it going to the point where it just, just explodes and pretty much kills a bunch of people. So it's kind of like in that situation. Let's look at WWE, which is part of the entertainment industry. Their stories are formulaic. Here's a good guy, here's a bad guy. Good guy beats bad guy jumps good guy multiple times. Bad guy looks strong. Good guy wins big main event. Rinse and repeat. And they've been doing this for so long. Now, of course, to those who pretty much fought against this actually did something right, where they actually make the heel win, or like the heel and face don't win. But it's like the thing is, the reason why they follow formulas is because it's easier to do, less brain power. Hey, they look at people as they're not so smart or they're not that intelligent, they're not going to challenge us. And if they do challenge us, we'll just get their our big fans, the ones that are streamers or whatnot, to defend us and make that person that's trying to talk bad about us look terrible. You know, even if it causes the company to go under, we still got our reputation of being amazing. What does that remind you of? A particular company that's not really looked upon well in the light, makes a certain oof sound. Hmm. It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know what the name of that uh, game is. You know, the misshapen characters. The default character has like what was it? Was it green shirt, blue? No, blue shirt, green pants, and has a particular smile, and his and he has like a cone or something like for a head. Help me out. It's all over the news and it's currently being investigated. If only I knew the name of that game. Hmm. And of course, people look at it like, oh, it kind of reminds me of Lego in a way. I guess we'll never know. I know it starts with the letter R though, ending with X. Anyone? No, just me. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank too. I guess it just comes with just being older. Bottom line is this: we have to be very careful what we want from these game companies. Okay, just in general. And it's just like with restaurants. We got to be careful. Oh, we offer suggestions, but we're in a situation where a lot of these big restaurants are, you know, just restaurants just closing down, closing down, closing down, closing down because they can't keep up with the economy, They can't keep up with, how rapidly it's changing due to, everything that's going on with the government with high tax tariffs. People aren't buying this stuff. So therefore, well, time to close down. All of this go aside together like peanut butter and jelly and honey and a little bit of Nutella. Combine it all together, it all tastes good, but at the end of the day, hurt your stomach because it's overwhelming if you're not careful. So, in conclusion to all of this, and I have to just state this: be very careful what you support. Be very careful because again, it could pretty much be a huge detriment to the game industry or the entertainment industry. Like because what's happening is that we are dealing with levels of desperation. I never thought today that I would see so many collabs and so many like guest characters in multiple games. And is it actually working for these, well, game companies as a whole? Hey Chase, hey Kay, welcome to my room. Fidel Daddy, welcome to my room. Yeah and no. And the reason why it doesn't always work is because it's been done too many times. If you tell me, right, that this particular game has a crossover with a Destiny character, has a crossover with a Warframe character, then has a crossover with One Piece, then has a crossover with this character, and then I see other games doing the exact same thing, it kind of loses its shock factor, don't you think? It's one of the reasons why when I learned about Lucy coming to Guilty Gear Strive, I got burnt out because it was happening too often. Mortal Kombat's now coming to Fortnite. Sonic with Pac-Man, this with this, that and that, yada yada yada. So it's like it's starting to become a little bit too much. That's like if I learned about a Prince of Persia character coming to Dead by Daylight. And Dead by Daylight pretty much only stays afloat because of collabs. Again, it benefits people, the fans and whatnot. But over time, if there's not like a balance, if it's not like a yearly or a monthly thing or like a every other month thing, get people to have something to look forward to, it starts to become a little bit overwhelming and lazy. Guest characters constantly coming to certain products shows that, you know, the company themselves are running out of ideas. And it also shows that they don't have any faith in their team to come up with something new and innovative. Xbox has barely any exclusives anymore. PlayStation is just playing the waiting game and just only relying on Last of Us because it makes them the most money. And then we got Nintendo, which they pretty much can do whatever they want because people are going to buy it anyway. And it's been proven. Oh, we don't want to buy the Switch 2. And people bought it anyway. Oh, well, my kid won. My kid wouldn't shut up about it, you know? And here we are now. Again, if you think I'm talking crazy and whatnot, I think there's this YouTuber, I forgot his name. He explains this a lot more perfectly than I could, where he talked about how people are sick and tired of the AAA gaming industry. He should honestly just reverse that and say people are tired of the entertainment industry because it's bigger than that. The entertainment industry pretty much helps keeps the economy in a way stabilized, just like the medical industry and whatnot. So what happens if people stop buying stuff? What do you think is going to happen to the economy? Remember what happened when people stopped buying cars during the recession? The economy crashed. Crashed. So hopefully it doesn't go to that extreme, but it's just you got to understand if you're dealing with like an industry that's making so much money, just as much money as the medical industry, more money than people buying books, and just as much money as people buying food every day, well, every other day or however much they can. Do you see why this is concerning? People can say this isn't important all they want, but whether you like it or not, the entertainment industry does play a role in how everything works around here. You know, it's what people pretty much are attuned to after they read their books, after they've worked out, exercise, after they pretty much are just living their life, enjoying themselves. They want to play a game. They want to watch a movie. That's just human nature. We got to keep ourselves entertained. We got to keep ourselves busy, or we go insane. It's one of Machiavelli's like laws they pretty much came up with. I'm not saying all of this to be in the right, but that's just the one thing I really want to come across. That people say that they want new ideas, but they need to focus on the main issue before they can produce said ideas. Let's break this down simply. The game industry's issue is they don't know what they want anymore. We are at a place where ideas are running low. When it comes to wrestling, you know, people have no idea, what they want. So what do we rely on? Dream matches. The one thing that fans have been asking for years. Now we're going to rely on dream matches and crossovers and whatnot. And if the story's not done properly, it just won't work. Well, let's now start pushing wrestlers that weren't pushed to begin with. Now you got to do all this hard work and hopefully that wrestler's in good shape and they don't die of A, old age, or B, due to some disease that they have, or due to abusing anabolic steroids. Now let's go to the movie industry. The big problem with the movie industry is they keep copying off of one another instead of just coming up with their own unique plan. DreamWorks, eventually, if they don't, keep their focus, they're going to pretty much be in a situation where people are going to compare them to Disney instead of just being DreamWorks themselves. This is dangerous. Same with the indie animation studios. Like, oh man, indies are doing a lot better than the AAA because you don't want that either. You got to have some type of level of balance, and there is none. So what you're dealing with is an imbalance of like what's being supported, what's not being supported, and now it's causing people to rely more on indies, put more pressure on indies to the point where they're collapsing. Freedom Planet developer, right? Spacey Bat had all of these projects planned, and now all of a sudden those projects to be announced. I was really excited to actually get one of those games, and actually was going to stream it for you all. But unfortunately, that release date for close to my birthday is now to be announced. Everyone is playing the waiting game because everyone, when it comes to being in this industry, is scared. Why do you think it took Adam Sandler almost 16 years to give us Happy Gilmore 2? He's a fellow Virgo. He even knows what time it is. He knows that the movie is not going to make all this money, but he did it as a way of saying, look, I'm old, I'm getting older and whatnot. I want to give the people what they want. And that is kind of like a sign of like, just someone that really does care for the people. But sometimes caring for the people to a certain extent or higher extent doesn't always equal much success. It has been proven over and over and over again. You can give the people what they want, but sometimes, and I hate to say this, it's kind of like what the game industry has stated, and some of these CEOs, as crooked as they are, right, sometimes you got to give the people what they don't want and make them, pretty much like it in a way of not forcibly, but in a way where you use manipulative tactics to pretty much entice players to actually give this a try, and then they may end up liking it, i.e., Fortnite. That's right. A game that people pretty much called a terrible game and whatnot over the years. And now all of a sudden people say they hate the game, and now all of a sudden they like the game. And now the game is making more money than it needs to. And it's pretty much has infected the game industry to the point where now everyone has all of these battle passes, deluxe editions, da da da. And now what they're doing, which is pretty ingenious, is they're adding a method where, oh, well, you bought the base game, but you didn't buy the full game. So what we're going to do is we're going to just pretty much subtract the cost so you can afford the full game, which is pretty cool. But at the same time, you also got some of those companies that are like, well, we can't afford that, so you just have to rebuy the game. Oh my goodness, it's scary, folks. It really is scary. And I'm not trying to like be a Debbie Downer. I'm just being realistic. There's a lot of people that are pretty much stating that they can't stand Bandai Namco. Hey guys, speaking of which, did you know that there was a Bleach game that came out recently and a Demon Slayer game? Wait, you didn't know that? You didn't know there was a new Demon Slayer game? Did you? Yeah, you in the chat. Foxpool, user, Die Alone, Joes, Jesse, Yerp, Howard Cassie, Most Hated Lover, LEM, Chase. Anyone? No? Yeah, remember this game? Demon Slayer, the first one that came out? Truly Cruz? You heard the new Demon Slayer game? No? It went from having thousands of players to only 489 in game. The new Bleach game is dead. The Hunter x Hunter fighting game literally only lasted less than a day and it's dead. I mean, folks, when I say that this shit is unstable, it is unstable. It's unreal. Oh yeah, Guilty Gear Strive now has at least 7,000 players, but once people get bored of that DLC character, the casuals, it's going to go back to its original number that it pretty much originally was, which was like 3,000, 2,000 players. It's really concerning, because we don't want to see this stuff happen, but it's happening. Stuff that I predicted, Wolf Sniper, welcome back. The stuff that I predicted since I was a teenager, because I had to learn about business and whatnot, how it works at such a young age, i.e., I grew up too fast in a way. Sometimes, Breezy, welcome to my realm. Sometimes I hate being right about this stuff. Like, I don't want to be the person that's like, well, maybe there was this. No, the truth is right in front of our face. People are making videos about this. People are fed up and tired. And you want to know another market that is forever failing and forever having issues? The adult market when it comes to gaming. Because they can't tell a story to save their life. It's the same old thing. For all the adults, just have your little jollies and there you go. And then you're done. No story that's actually worth a damn. And that's not good. And the gameplay's not even that great either. I just don't understand why this is a thing. You got streamers that pretty much advertise these games, and it's still not enough. You got new innovative ideas from indie companies, and they're great, but people don't know a lot about them because, again, lack of advertisement funds. People, it's a problem. It's a big problem. It's even worse when it comes with artists. Oh my goodness. These artists went from charging all this money to now lowering the cost because of the fact that people aren't buying commissions anymore. It's it's getting bad out here, man. Folks out here looking for jobs. And trust me when I say they ain't looking to the entertainment industry because this shit is unstable. This does not mean that you can't be in the market. Just don't expect to have a stable lifestyle being in this market because anything and everything can happen. And oh boy, if the government ever decides to say, oh, well, certain games are just too violent or whatnot, they wanted to add restrictions to that, that's just going to automatically destroy the game industry as a whole. And then that's when people are going to really rise up and say, nah, we got to do something about this. Folks, what I want you to take away from this is simple. The entertainment industry is, I said this before many years ago, the entertainment industry is the one industry that could literally get away with anything, even murder. And I meant that. Why? Because the people will toss it to the side because of their nostalgia and the fact that, oh my goodness, these games are just so amazing, and pretty much ignore what's been happening. It's kind of ironic because right after I said that, like years later, there's someone else by the name of Jane Stephanie Sterling Son who happened to say that exact same thing. It's just something you got to really pay attention to because how do I put this as nicely as I know how? Like honestly, I don't know how to put this as nicely as I know how. The reason why it's gotten so bad, right? It's not what you think. You know, people say, "Oh, it's capitalism, this," and all of that is true. But the real reason, right, as to why this constantly keeps happening, and I have to be the one that's the bearer of bad news, is because it's just so unstable. You can't fix this. There was a time where you could fix or at least try to adjust the game industry. You can't fix this. It's so unstable to the point that I feel like if there's any more ideas being put out there, it's just going to cause the whole industry as a whole, not just games, not just movies, to collapse. There's a reason why a lot of these companies are finding other ways to make money. In other words, so they can stay afloat. Golden parachutes, or as I like to call them, platinum parachutes with benefits. Platinum parachutes meaning that, oh, they make a lot more money and have benefits because they could just make that instant comeback and they win. Whereas the workers and whatnot, they didn't have a plan, they lose. And you want to know another particular platform that's also in trouble when it comes to this? VR chat. Don't believe me? Keep watching. What's going to end up happening when investors keep seeing all of these videos about VR chat and what's going on with the pedophilia issue? They're going to deal with the same issue with Roblox, but they figured to themselves, hold on, we need to choose one or the other. Who's making the most money? It sure as hell ain't VR chat. It's Roblox. So let's get them first. Have them bend the knee. And then once they bend the knee, then we go after VR chat. Then we go after other sites. Sorry, other, social media platforms. It's a game, people, that Lily was just talking about. And I use women as an example for a prime reason. And what's that prime reason? It's simple because it's the best way for you all to interpret and to understand just how cruel nature can be. Doesn't care about your feelings, and it definitely doesn't care about you. If you're not well aware how the game works, it will play you. And when it comes to entertainment industry, I think I'm gonna say this right now, and I'm gonna make this promise to myself. After this year, I'm not going to ask anything of this game industry anymore. I'm not going to ask for new games. I'm not going to ask for content. I'm literally not even going to ask for new ideas from indies. I am simply going to sit back, continue to focus on me and my mother. By the way, she is doing a little better. We're just waiting on another date for the surgery and just monitoring the cancer. And of course, chemo's doing good too. Paco Fu, welcome to my realm. I think that's just the best thing to do because at this point, it's great that we get to see all these collabs and stuff. It's great that we get to see, oh my goodness, what's going on with the Shinobi game and the DLC bosses. But the fact that this is just happening so fast at such a rate, but the monetary gain is so little to the point where only free to play games are driving. But even they are getting to the point where they have no choice but to keep constantly, relying on collabs. Just shows you it's something bigger than that. I mean, it's just movies are making references to other movies to pretty much help advertise other movies because it's gotten that pretty bad. Where, hey, what if your movie pretty much made a reference to this movie? And maybe people will be like, oh, that's a reference to this movie, so they can pretty much buy that. Buy, spend, spend, spend. to a machine that's just going to collapse. It's one thing to at least invest in something and you get something in return and everything is hunky dory. It's another thing to invest and get some return and that machine is literally coughing up a bunch of black smog to and just and permeating the whole industry to the point where it is in danger. This ain't looking good, folks. This ain't looking good. This is your naturally more hated Virgo speaking. I thank you all for stopping by. And I just want you all just to think about this. Talk to your family, talk to your friends about this, and then ask yourself, what can we really do about this? First time ever, reinventors. And I haven't said that word in a long, long time, so there you go. Take that as a little Easter egg. Wink, wink. So I'll rephrase what I said. For the first time ever, curious ones. I don't know.